Hello Nancy, it's Jerry from Coastline Mazda. So I'm going to go over a few things with your beautiful new 2018 Mazda 3 50th anniversary Snowflake Pearl White sedan. It's a final delivery checklist. I won't be able to do this with you in Prince Rupert, so I'm going to go through things with you right now, and hopefully this helps. Okay, so first things off is basically an exterior and interior clean. We have inspected the car. I showed you in the previous video that it's been showroom shined and it is in like new condition. There's no scuffs, scrapes, or dents to be aware of, so hopefully it gets to you in the same manner we have shipped it off as. First thing we're going to do is kind of just jump in the vehicle and start going through some of the features that they want me to explain to you. So jump on in that side, Mark, and we'll get this started up. So Nancy, the very first thing that they want us to check out is, or get you to get very well aware of, is called the engine start procedure. So for you, especially since you're going to be boarding ferries often or not, basically it's a three-step process. Press the button once without your foot on the brake. It's going to turn on your electricity. Press it twice. It's going to turn on your heating, ventilation, air conditioning, all the accessories such as your navigation, power windows, locks, and mirrors. And then number 3 would be put your foot on the brake. You get the green light and go. Simple as that, eh, Nancy? Now, I'm going to turn it off real quickly and show you how basically you're always going to be doing this. You would jump in the car, put your foot on the brake, press go, and that's it. You don't have to do the three-step process every time. It's just, say if you're boarding the ferry, they want you to get in the car. You can't start the car, but you want to get the air flowing, right? So come on over here, Mark, and have a look at this, starting with your automatic lighting system. So this is on auto now. You got your daytime running lights and your high beams, or your night lights. With auto, it is going to automatically turn on the lights as soon as it gets dark, or dusk to dawn, and vice versa. As soon as it gets light, it'll turn them off. Over here, Mark, we have the automatic windshield wiper blade. So right there you can see one up is manual. One click down, Nancy, is your automatics. There is a speed variable here, so you can adjust it to full blast or whatever it is. I know Prince Rupert's pretty stormy up there, so probably full blast and automatic works well. It's actually got a black and white camera up in the system up in here that detects 1, 2, 3, 4 drop, even the size of the drop, and then the windshield wiper blade will come up, give it a clean sweep, and then it'll adjust accordingly. So it works very well for island weather as well as up north. So that's the engine start procedure, check number 1. Next is the tilt and telescopic. So directly dead center of this wheel here. Pull back in it. Let's see. Pull back, pull that down. You go in, out, up, and down. I know you'll be sitting in your driveway probably trying to find your sweet spot. Once you do, the Japanese call it Jinbai Itai. It's the feeling of oneness, and you're gonna find it in this car there, Nancy. She is a real nice machine, that's for sure. 4-wheel drive, so that is not something you need to worry about. Instrument panel gauges. So over on this side here, Nancy, we have our tachometer, and of course it'll tell you what gear you're in, such as reverse, neutral, drive. When you have it in your semi-automatic Tiptronic, it'll say manual 1. You can start off in second gear, draws a little less torque to the tires, and of course your kilometers are there. Moving on over to the next panel, you have your kilometers on the outside ring, miles on the inside ring, and this will be what well, that little signal there is to let you know we have some doors open. In this area here will be the little wrench that pops up for your maintenance, or something that will show up like a low tire pressure, low windshield wiper fluid, oil change, all that good stuff. It'll be a little yellow wrench in this area. Basically, I'll explain that in a minute here. Moving on over to this panel, you can see we have the outside temperature 21 degrees, so it's cooling off a little bit here in this town. You got your fuel bar, which is from E to empty. As you can see right there, it does show which side of the tank is on, so that's handy dandy. Now with this info button here, you can scroll through that panel again. There we go. So, shing. You got your average speed the vehicle's been on. Of course, it hasn't traveled very long yet. The range is 631 at the average of, it hasn't been set either. It was all reset, so you'll find a real good average. My wife has hers down to 7 liters every 100 kilometers, so that'll be in and around where you're going to be, unless you zip, zip, zip. That's enough with the instrument panels at that point. Moving on over to this, we got the sport mode. This button here there, Nancy, is simple as that. You press it upwards, a little light will pop up in this area here, and you'll see the sport on. See, that basically is going to tie into your RPM sensing rack and pinion electric assist in the steering wheel. So it's going to tighten the wheel up a bit, spit the fuel on a little bit higher PSI. It's going to change the shift point so it holds the res quite a bit longer. Super fun mode, not super fuel economic mode by any means, but fun mode by far. So, or for sure. So there you go, sport mode. Now we're still back here talking about the manual mode here. As you can see, it's in manual, and you have the option to see how you can go the arrows for plus downwards, because inertia says you're going back in your seat when you're going faster, and then of course engine brake changing down the gears. Minus is upwards, which is again gonna be really helpful come winter time when you've got the slippery roads up in that area. So anytime you ever get lost in this, Nancy, you can always just flick it back in the regular drive. It'll put you back in the optimum gear, and it's super easy to use. One real cool thing is you can't really wreck this system. If you were in fifth and you accidentally hit it a couple of times, it won't let you switch to first to like wreck the transmission. It won't let you change gears until RPM matches in the transmission, so you're okay. Play with it, have some fun. Right here we have your electronic parking brake. This is a space saver / longevity player. It allows for less moving parts, and of course created a whole bunch more space here. The way that works is you put a little pressure on the brake pedal, lift it upwards like you're wrenching up on an e-brake, and release downwards like you're releasing the e-brake. You're going to hear it, you're going to feel it in the pedal, you're going to see the light turn off, and of course there's a warning up on the dash here as well. Super easy to use. And the real cool feature with that is if you did forget to take your e-brake off and you're in a big rush, it'll actually trip out of the e-brake, so you don't go running down the road for 5 kilometers with your e-brake on, burning off your pads and your rotors. So a little bit of a safety mechanism there. Tire pressure monitoring system is over this way. As you can see in this little zone here, you got your traction control button and your tire pressure monitoring system. The tire pressure monitoring system is there so you can reset it. So if you're out of town, you're not near a Mazda shop, you're not near a shop at all, you can go to a gas station, top up your tires, press the reset, it'll get rid of that annoying light in your dashboard. The traction control is something you'd never really want to turn off, but for you, because you're going to deal with some type of snow, if you ever did high center this vehicle, basically you can turn your traction control off. And show this over here, Mark. I'm going to turn it off. You can see that little squiggly car light up there. That means it's going to draw equal power to the front tires, so you can kind of spin yourself out of some really crazy situations depending on what you're in. Normally, you never really want to turn that off, but there is the button for that. Traction control is being talked about. We did the lights, wipers. So heating, ventilation, air conditioning is very simple in this car. Max AC, well, you actually have to turn the fans on to get the AC running. But AC, you can see it's labeled 15, 22, 29. The average actual perfect temperature is about 22. I like it about 19.5, so depending on where you're at. The auto button is very cool, because if you stick it on auto and you know exactly what temperature you like, say you like 17, and you stick it on auto, it's actually going to work towards making it exactly 17 degrees in the cabin, which is really nice. Once you find that temperature you enjoy, super easy. Otherwise, you can manually adjust the fan speed anytime you like. You got your fresh air intake. As you can see, turning this off will make it fresh air intake. Turning that on will make it so it's recycled air. Over here we got our defrost buttons. This will be your front defrost and full blast. Press that button, now you got front and rear defrost full blast. Up here we have your heated seats. You got from frying egg down to toasty warm on both sides, front and driver, and as well as the heated seats. Now that you have the remote starter attached to this vehicle, at night you basically want to, for a cold morning start. So there's your heated seats, or your heated steering wheel, and basically it ties into the 9 and 3 and the 10 and 2, so it's kind of rewards you to drive the vehicle properly, 10 and 2 like you're supposed to, or 9 and 3 in cruise control and relax, right? And it's going to keep your hands real toasty warm. Now back to that talk about the remote starter. It won't actually, if you have this preset from the night before, it won't actually turn on the steering wheel. We're not sure exactly why, probably a safety concern, but for you, cold morning start, you want to have your seats on full blast, you want to have the heat on full blast, you want to crank the fan going full blast, so when you start your remote starter first thing in the morning, all this is going to be exactly as you left it. All right, Nancy, sorry for the interruption in the video there. So we're on to the power, windows, and mirrors. I kind of just lost my cameraman, that's all. He had an appointment he had to take care of. So we're on to the power, windows, and mirrors. So right here you can see your power mirrors. Left will do the left side, right will do the right, and it is like a 3D joystick. Very easy to figure out, and I'm sure you will. Here you have the power locks, quite simple. You have the proximity key locks with this vehicle, as well as the walk-away locks, which is a real cool feature. So you basically never have to take the fob out of your purse. You walk on up to the car, press the proximity button on the outside of the door, come on in, start the car with one button, and off you go. And then as you exit the vehicle, all you would need to do is just open the door and walk away. It will automatically lock for you. So you do have auto one touch for the driver's side. Basically touch it once down. There you go. Kind of coincides with the most used combo in the car, I believe, which is this. It's a volume knob slash mute button. So I call it the Tim Hortons button due to the fact that when you're kind of pulling up to the drive-thru, you got the music playing, right? You're happy. Pull on up to the drive-thru. Hello. Press the mute button. Yes, I'd like a large double, please, sir. Take my money, get my drink, get my order, come back in. I press this again just once, and this again just once, and you're right back to where you were before you had to leave that groove of the tunes. It's a very, very cool combination that gets used quite a bit in this vehicle, and I call it Tim Hortons, but I just thought I'd add that in there. So next up is we have the airbags. You got one airbag coming out of here, one airbag coming out of here. This is a smart airbag support system. So, meaning, if that pulls up in red here, it means you either have a jug of milk, a purse, an object, or a human under 85 pounds on the seat. And in that case, it will not deploy out of the passenger side, which is a safety concern. So, no longer have your purse on the seat, or the jug of milk, or any humans or kids under 85 pounds in that seat. That airbag will not deploy. And for your safety, you're best off to put the stuff on the floor and keep the children out of the front seat. Now there is a airbag coming out of the top ridge there. It comes out about 8 inches and all the way down to the seat. You've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those. So 6 airbags in total in this vehicle. So be good and safe if worst case scenario you do get in a collision. Seatbelt height operation. So if you are a shorter person, pull these out. So as you can see, pulls out, up for your tall people, for short people. If it's choking you out while you put on your brakes, you know where to adjust it now. We do have the child-proof doors, locks and tethers, which I'll take you for a little tour and show you what that's all about. Alongside of the power windows and those locks in the windows, you will be able to completely lock the windows out as well. So here we have the lock for the child locks, and moving along here you have the tethers for your child anchors, as well as the rear anchors are up here. You can see the rear anchors right there. So it does have room for 3 baby seats and the growing family. So no problem there. Moving along here. Now we have the spare tire talk. So I will show you where the spare tire is in this vehicle. Basically, there's one button here to open up your trunk. There's also a button right on your fob to open up your trunk. So you have 2 ways to open up your trunk, and let's go have a look. Now, as I had mentioned in that previous video, they do want you to put the roadside assistance in your phone as soon as possible. That way, if you do ever find yourself in a situation where you need to change out the tire, they can come running and do it for you. But there it is. Your spare tire's right there, Nancy. This little slot here is empty. It is for a tow hook. You can order them up. They're about 30 bucks each, but most truck drivers should have one available when they do come tow you out of the ditch if need be. You never really want to have a tow truck hooked to the frame of this beautiful Skyactiv chassis. So these little hooks here, they kind of pop out. The tow hook will screw in. There's 2 on the back, and the tow truck driver can yank you out with those. So you never want them to be attaching to the frame. As you can see, there's another one in the front as well. So tow hooks when you hit the ditch. We never really want to talk about hitting the ditch, but when you do, you want to know what to do. So, moving along to the next here. As you can see in the mirrors here, we have blind spot monitoring. You can barely see it with the way the camera picks this up, but it looked like 2 cars passing in your mirror. Anyone pulls up within 10 meters of your blind spot, it will light up. Now say you go to put your eyes back on the road, you go to put your blinker on, and someone sneaks back up into your blind spot. It will then beep and light up. So you'll get a double warning so you can quickly get back into your lane without causing any incident. Another cool thing that kind of brings to my mind is the 3 flash turn signal these cars have. Basically just tap that, will be your 3 flash turn signal. Tap. 1, 2, 3. You never have to go, never be that guy going down the highway with his blinker on for 2 hours because it didn't turn off automatically. Of course, you can do it the old way where you just hold it down, do a big long turn. The torque will actually take the blinker off, but this is a 3 flash turn signal. You just basically tap. That's a cool thing to have for sure. Now, navigation. This little human machine interface command switch is kind of like a braille system. Basically, you'll get used to using it without ever looking at it. If you ever do get lost in the system, you kind of reach down, you feel there's a lift. It's your home button. Press the home button, it'll bring up this screen right here. You'll get very, very familiar with, and it becomes like second nature. A couple cool things about that is it's kind of run like a mouse or a joystick in a sense. So you have 3-dimensional control. If you get lost in the menus and you can't seem to find a way back, there is a back button here. So again, you don't want to have a distraction here. You want to keep your eyes on the wheel, or hands on the wheel, eyes on the road. And of course, if need be, you have this to change things out. Right away here, we're going to set up your vehicle status monitor, which means we're going to set up your maintenance monitor right now. So your schedule is going to be, for these vehicles, it's every 6 months or 8,000 kilometers. Of course, it's not set in stone. We are not BMW, we're not Mercedes, where they make you do a lap around the block to get here to exactly 8,000K. The recommendation is to be as close to the 8,000K as possible. Definitely stick with the warranty maintenance program. It will help keep this vehicle running true and for a long time. Tire rotation is actually set for 12,000 kilometers, and of course you will get a upon your inspection, the mechanic will recommend whether it's necessary or not. The oil change again is 8,000 kilometers or 6 months, whichever comes first. So now that's all set up for you at the 199 kilometer mark, so you are good to go. So I think that pretty much covers it all. I mean, there's a lot going on when it comes to the navigation and all that. You have to put your home in there, start playing with it. It's super duper easy to use. I'll show you one real cool trick that kind of gets most people flustered, but say I got the nav screen set up right here. This whole car can be run through the voice recognition system as well. Your radio prompts, all that good stuff, your navigation, all that, it will come up or is accessible through this voice recognition. So I'm going to show you one cool thing now that we got the nav on.
Say a command.
Address.
Say the full address, including number, street, city, and state.
2280 Island Highway, Campbell River, BC.
Say the desired line number.
So that's how you do it, Nancy.
Try again, or say
pull up the first one. That's the address to Coastline Mazda here. We are going to navigate directly to it. Basically, you press the voice recognition while the nav's pulled up. It's going to say, what would you like to do? If you're searching for an address and you know the address, say address. Spit out the address, the full address, the street number, name, city, province, as clear as you can. If you're having issues, just remember to wait for the beep, and if it's still not hearing you correctly, you may have your fans turned up too high and pointed up towards here where they're actually the speakers are for your voice recognition. So the fan could interrupt it. Basically, your best bet is to go like this. Press this.
Save
Voice
command.
recognition lady. Tutorial.
Tutorial.
Go
Save
through
the
this.
desired line number.
Press the lady. Come do the tutorial once or twice. You'll know how to talk to your car. It's super easy. Makes it. It's a great tool, a great addition to this vehicle. So it makes it real easy to find navigation prompts as well. There's lots going on in that, so I don't get too in depth with that. But I'll show you one more set of settings that you're gonna have to go through. So as you're at the home screen, you have your. You'll be able to set up the Bluetooth and devices. All this here is going to go through the whole entire vehicle. Your smart city brake support, your blind spot monitoring, all your sound options, the clock, how to do this daylight savings time, of course your vehicle, the turn signals, the door locks, the lighting. There's all sorts of really cool settings to go through here to make it very personalized. I think it's really hard to be able to go through that without you here, so we're just going to leave it as is. But I will tell you a little bit about the smart city brake support system and how it works. There is a camera up in this area here again that is it's a safety mechanism, a forward collision warning system. So if this vehicle is traveling under 30 kilometers an hour and somebody puts on the brakes really heavy in front of you and you don't have time to apply the brakes or react, period, it will put on the brakes for you. It'll actually close the calipers and then snap the brakes in a warning system, and it will avoid collision under 30 kilometers an hour. That's stop and go traffic, everyday commuting. It will avoid collision because it'll have time to brake. Now if you're going over 30 kilometers an hour and you just happen to be not paying attention, or somebody puts on their brakes heavily and you don't have time to react, or you just didn't see it happening, or you're distracted, whatever it is, it will do the same thing, but of course you'll be traveling faster, so it'll just lessen the blow. It's a very cool feature. This here is so you can set the warning distance. So if it seems to be snugging the brakes a little too early, you might want to put the warning distance on further away. If you're doing a lot of stop and go traffic, nearer the better, because then it's not going to be tugging on the or closing the calipers too soon. The warning volume is great set on high, because if you need to brake, it actually gives you a beep, 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 really quick, abrupt beat, which is basically warning you to put on your brakes. And of course, if you haven't put on your brakes, it will brake for you. Again, under 30 kilometers an hour, avoid collision. Over 30 kilometers an hour, lessen the blow. Very cool system. It's standard across the entire board for Mazda right now. It has saved quite a few friends on their maiden voyages, even with these new cars. Now, I didn't really get too in depth with your the fact that you got the 50th anniversary and the Bose audio, because I mean, man, you're gonna love this stereo system. It's just so crystal clear and it's so nice. Basically, this Bose center point is gonna turn it into a virtual surround sound, which is, I mean, it's just great. And then the Bose audio pilot is a speed sensing variable, so as you're on the highway, it'll actually crank up the music so you can get into the groove, and then as you approach town and you lessen your speed, it'll actually draw less amperage, and it just basically tones down the music a little bit. So that's another cool feature. I am going to turn it all on for you. You have all the time in the world to switch it out if you want. Crank the bass a little bit. One thing good about this system is if you crank it full blast on the bass and the treble, you won't blow your speakers out. It's designed so that you can crank it all the way. So hopefully this is helping you quite a bit here. Everything else is pretty easy going. You got cruise control here. It's pretty cool. You press on, up comes the digital. Press your set. There's a cancel, resume. You do have your info button that we kind of went through. This is your nether volume control for keeping your hands on the wheel as on the road, and this is for picking up your calls and hanging up your calls. I know there's a lot to go through in this car, and I'm sure you're going to have some questions. So if you do have any questions, you know, just feel free to give me a call there, Nancy, anytime you like. I'm Jerry Johnson with Coastline Mazda. I look forward to hearing back from you. Bye for now.